complicated thing about the middle place. I used to think the middle place was a place of going back, being accountable, figuring out what you didn't learn because you were too afraid to, and then going into another body to then go learn that lesson. That's what I came to believe about this place. But in Pistis Sophia, it explains something completely fucking different. It's a place where you get trapped, manipulated, and where your self-worth is attacked, where you are then forced through some type of manipulation, the same type that we get here, are forced to stay there and obey that going into another body. But it's not for us that they do this. The people, or whatever's in the middle doing all this, those ones are not doing it for us. They're doing it for them. They need us as virtual reality machines. They live through our decision making somehow. God does. We know how He does that. When a person is good and unselfish, that's God acting in the person, yeah? Well, when evil acts in a person, it's in complete opposite. So what they're saying is in Pistis Sophia is that don't listen to them and know the mysteries, which I'm explaining to you, by the way. Know the mysteries so you can hear them say, why don't you come over here instead in your silence while all this is going on around you, where they call them retributive receivers, meaning retributive. That means that you're going to get punished for the things you did. Fuck me. It's all one big trick, hey? It has to be like this because of the way we're made, which I'm not getting into because we did that already. It's all one big trick that they've been getting away with until now. Now is different. They made us, stole the seed from God to get us to work and think. But that's God in spirit as our Father, not physical Father, man. We were made physically by them. Who, you know what, the first humans the females didn't have breasts or vaginas. Now think about that, which was also in the ancient writings of the same people which Pistis Sophia came from. So it's time to destroy that place, and what I mean by that is don't give in and don't get trapped. And you do that here and now by adjusting to the balanced determined self, leaving the selfish person's behavior behind, the selfish determined self behind, leaving the pleasing determined self behind, and be informed. Look for the knowledge that you ask questions for, get the truth of that knowledge, and act on that knowledge. Add that knowledge to your knowledge base of self until greater knowledge comes. Don't tell yourself, no, I don't know nothing. That's what they need. These retributive receivers, they need you to deny that. Don't deny it. Say, yeah, it's there. I don't know what it is, but this is the knowledge that I have. And that's how they do it. Their number one trick is to lower your self-worth low enough for you to not believe and trust in yourself. And in that moment, you don't, because you are filled with unresolved pain, unresolved anger, unresolved fear. But let's disappear that shit and get on with life. Having said all that, know and understand in the deepest part of you that God forgives us all. It's not a case of that. He knows we're going to fuck up. He knows that we're going to go dark emotionally, do shitty things, do even for some evil things. But it's all forgiven through His mercy. It's all true. That part is true. But the one thing that's not told to us is that we have to rid ourselves of that second wisdom because it's infection to God's realm. That's why there's 5 life cycles hoping that we would get it. Well, we got it. Now we understand now the real separation can take place once people catch on to this information. It's just a body of information that Jesus came with. He calls them the keys of knowledge. They're the keys of knowing self. Not only that, it's understanding how the interception and the interceptor works. It's not a monster like you see on TV. It's an intelligent being a good scientist, an intelligent scientist who made his own fucking humans, but God says they have life in them, so let's see what we can do with it. Because he wants to be our father God, our mother God, his masculine and feminine elements, mother and father, that he gives us without his knowledge, without it being his uniqueness, but for us so we can build our own uniqueness and then keep that uniqueness. You see, that's what's golden about this. Sure, to the people who made the secondary human, it was like us going to the arcade. Pretty soon we're bored of it and we leave. But God saw life, so he said, okay, we'll grow this creation into the light. It's for those who want to. In other words, you have a choice. You can write your own name in that damn book. If it's not there, you can do that now. All you got to do is realign your heart's thought process cognitively. It takes up the emotional work. None of the challenges that you get in therapy, because there is no fucking therapy. You learn, and then you learn, grow, and evolve from your knowledge base. It's the information is so impactful, so profound in knowing self, since it's been a mystery to understand what that even meant. When people said that, know yourself. Well, what the fuck does that mean, know myself? It's knowing how self is reacting to both its wisdoms. Wisdom's knowing. So the first wisdom births the understanding of the circumstance in truth and logic, understanding the circumstance that impacts us emotionally, in which wisdom takes from the emotional memory to add to the knowledge base in the now, so self can proceed based on a knowledge base and not based on nothing. Evil comes in to separate us from that and hacks the living computer through the electromagnetic pulse in the earth into our hearts and disguises itself as the first wisdom, but it has to work in opposite. Like it's the only thing it creates, the only thing it births is fear when in heart's thought of self-expression. So it provides us fear. Fear, potential loss, is it speak to us. Silence has its silent voice. This dark feminine element has image in thought without silent voice. So when we become afraid of something, we just see images of what we're afraid of and then react to that emotionally, which is fearful. But the thing is, with our fear, we have a normal fear, but our fear gets amplified when in heart's thought of the potential rejection. You see, so that's what stops us, and that's what separates us and divides and conquers us. What specifically gets conquered, though? It's our first wisdom, knowing self, knowing the uniqueness of self. When we're too afraid and feel low self-worth anyway, then we just proceed on that path and don't do anything about it. But you have to do something about it. It's your only ticket into heaven. Nothing else is. And even if you believe that there's other requirements, go ahead. It doesn't matter, as long as you believe that you have to clean yourself. Cleanse your heart's thought process of all that darkness of the emotional self. You get rid of that, and all the other shit disappears, I promise.